In ultra hardcore, death is inevitable. It will come for me just as it has come for those before me. And when my time comes, I'll pass this world on to someone new who will continue its story. The only thing that remains of those gone is the creations they leave behind. This is UHC Generations. Now that I've had this world for a couple weeks, I've had some time to figure out what I want to make of my time in UHC Generations. When you boil it down, what makes UHCG so cool is the story it tells with its history. But now that we're 4 generations in, that history is starting to get a bit scattered and lost across so many people and videos. In many cases, that's okay. That's part of the beauty of this project. But there are also many things that would be a shame to lose and need to be protected. A great example is the first diamond pickaxe that MoI made. It's an important piece of this world's history, and I don't even know if it exists anymore, let alone where it's at. We're hitting a make or break point, and if something isn't done, time will take its toll. So for my time, I want to protect and preserve this world's story. Or in other words, I want to be UHC Generations' first historian. And to that end, I have been pretty busy. Pretty busy indeed. True, a lot of UHCG's history is preserved in the videos on it, but there are just some things that work better if they're done in the world itself. So I've spent the last week building a hub of history for UHCG, a museum. I spent 6 hours in quartz mining alone, and let me tell you, every second of it was terrifying. The Nether is the last place you want to be in ultra hardcore. But between resource gathering, artifact cataloging, and building, this project took a bit over 30 hours of work, and I am very excited to show it off. Folks, finally, welcome to the Museum of Generations. Some blood, sweat, and tears has gone into this hub of history for UHCG. And as we go through it, you'll notice it's actually not very full. There's several areas that are still pretty empty, and there is a good reason for that. The reason being, I wanted to make sure there's plenty of room for expansion, because we're still pretty early on in the lifespan of UHCG, so if we're gonna tell the story here of this world, there's gotta be plenty of room for future generations. The first place is the artifact room, where I've displayed all the items of interest I could find. MoI's bow, MoI's golden apple, the first diamond axe, the first sword, and my own item, the first piece of netherite found in UHCG, which I found while mining all the quartz for the museum. The second room is a new fan art gallery. The gallery in Founders Town is great, but it's got some flaws. The art is in low resolution, which is fine considering we're in Minecraft, but the deal breaker is that each piece of art is a texture swap for paintings, meaning the amount of art is limited by how many paintings are in the game. In the new gallery, this entire wall is one large texture that can easily be added onto. And it's not only higher resolution, but it avoids using paintings completely. As long as there's room on the wall, it can be added onto indefinitely. I did have to do some command trickery to do this, but I hope you'll agree this was a worthwhile reason to bend the rules a little. All the previous fan art is here, now in higher resolution. But we also more than doubled the amount with new pieces from my first episode. You guys really came through, and I love them all so much. There's a couple more pieces in the pipeline to be added, but I'm gonna have to cut off any new submissions to make sure there's plenty of room for future generations. But seriously, thank you guys for making these. They are amazing. The next room is an important one, the timeline room. As I've mentioned, UHCG history is starting to get a bit scattered across so many people and videos. To bring the story together in one place, this room is a complete timeline of major events. It begins with MoI starting UHCG and goes all the way to present day. Each block represents 1 month of real life time. On the second floor, I've built myself an office. Why? Because I wanted one, that's why. There isn't much to say, other than I did leave a note for future generations here. And saving the best for last, welcome to the Archives. This is a collection of nearly every book written in UHC Generations, including all the journals, completed quest books, and any other random notes. The only books I've left out are ones that add important context to their locations. And that is the museum as of right now. Like I said, if I haven't hammered it home, lots of room for expansion, but I'm very happy with what we got, and I hope you are too. Now, let's move on to some history we really need to protect because it's very, very important. Just over a year ago now, Quilby, the second generation, made an important discovery. There was a quest in the quest hub labeled "A Treasure Lies in the Center of the Earth." It took him a while, but eventually he figured out that the clue meant it was hidden at the 0, 0 coordinates of the world. Upon going there, he discovered a room that MoI had hidden with a note saying, "Don't go through this door until it's time to end UHC Generations." To this day, nobody knows what's inside that door other than MoI himself. Right, horsey. It's been a bit, huh? Been a bit since you've been anywhere? Let's go, man. Claiming MoI was here, Quilby was here too. There we go. Jeez, I think this goes all the way down to bedrock. Here it is, the final room. We found the place where UHC Generations will come to an end. This series, much like our own lives within it, cannot last forever. I think it's best that it gets a proper ending, an intentional finale, rather than fade into obscurity. I gotta just take a little peek. What's that sign say? In UHC Generations, forward, yes. Backwards, no. No, we're not ending UHCG today. But that day will come at some point, and this room could very easily get forgotten about. I don't know about you, I really want to know what's behind these doors, and this could easily fade into obscurity, so we need to do something to make sure this room doesn't get forgotten about. The original quest that led Quilby to the final room is completed, so the only way to know about this room is to have seen it in videos. Down the line, future generations could easily forget or even not have watched all the videos. What is needed is an information time capsule that will protect the knowledge until that day comes. When the end of UHC Generations has finally arrived, this MoI Head will ultimately lead to the final room MoI made. Now remember, I'm not the one to have discovered the final room, and I definitely don't want to steal MoI's thunder, but I also want to make sure it doesn't get forgotten, which is the main purpose of this. So this will ultimately lead to a little note from me as well, but primarily its purpose is just to get to that final room. One day, somebody's going to walk up here, read this, and it will tell them to break the glass. What happens when the glass breaks? Well, you'll have to find out one day. We have one more thing on the agenda today, and it has kind of a twofold purpose. I want to make some space on the quest board, so we're going to go get some Netherite. I want Netherite, just so I can obviously clear some space on the board, but also I have some long-term plans that are definitely going to require Netherite. So let's hit the mines! That took a very long time, but as you can see in my hand, I have been successful. 7 ingots of Netherite, which I have quite a plan for, but that's gonna have to wait. Let's just say some big things are in the works. Some very, very big things. We still have so much to do, and I can't wait to share it with you. In one episode, I've secured most of the major historic things I felt were in danger, but there's still some mysteries to solve. A great example is MoI claims in one of his journals that his first set of wooden tools were saved, but when I asked him directly if they still existed, he couldn't remember ever doing anything with them. They could still be out there, and no one, not even MoI, knows the truth. We still have a lot to uncover, though I'm gonna have to start digging deeper. And soon, I won't only be protecting this world's history, I'll be creating my own. I have a grand plan, and it's already in the works. I'm so excited to share it, but that's for another day. I don't want to rush it. MoI's journal taught me that lesson. His final journal entry, marked to have been written well after midnight, describes how he spent hours building the spawn tower and was so tired from the grind, yet his enthusiasm got the better of him, and in his tired state, he decided to do a raid. The final words in his journal read, "Maybe I should just go to sleep." I find that eerie and poetic. It's a somber reminder that I have to consider every action I take if I want to see my plans through. All it takes is one mistake and those plans will be dust in the wind. So, for now, I'll leave you with the words MoI ended all of his episodes with. I live to die another day.